So I thought I'd give you guys a rundown of what to expect this month in boxing. And oh my God, there is some crazy fights coming up. But before we have a look at them, let's go back and review the weekend's action. So there was the rematch of Taylor versus Catteral. Obviously the first one was very controversial. A lot of people thought Catteral had won it quite clearly, but the decision went to Taylor on the night. It was a bit of an ugly fight. It was a bit scrappy. And well, the judges have came out. One of them, John Lewis, came out on a podcast and said that he defends his result. He thinks if you go through the fight round by round and score it, that it's closer than you think. And because of the scrappy nature and Catteral kind of falling away a little bit towards the latter stages of the fights, he still backs, his scorecard of, I think it was 114, 112, I think. He still defends it, even though he did get, I think he got his top refereeing license. He got to move down once. But the second fight, Jack Catteral, was a very clear, well, in my opinion, was a very clear winner. I agree with the judges' scorecards of about 117, 112. Again, it kind of depends on what you like, but I thought Catteral was the clear winner. He used his jab really well. He mixed it up, head and body, and, he just kind of let off triple jabs. And he looked really good, in my opinion. And yeah, I wasn't quite sure what happened to Taylor because I thought he was going to come back strong because he said he'd had eye surgery. Because before that, he was really struggling with his peripheral vision, but he just couldn't get it done because he'd had so many fights lined up. So he got his eye surgery done, and I thought maybe we would see kind of the Josh Taylor of old, the one who, beat up Regis Prograis, was an undisputed world champion. But clearly the loss to Lopez, I think, maybe just mentally ruined him. Maybe not ruined him, is harsh, because clearly the Lopez loss probably took a lot out of him, and a few miles on the clock. And yeah, as I said, I thought Jack Catteral looks really good. I feel like he's got Josh Taylor's number. Sometimes styles make fights, and stylistically, Catteral is just wrong for Taylor. We saw it with George Groves. You can lose to the same guy twice and still move on. So yeah, well done to Catteral. And I thought it was a really entertaining fight in the end. So moving on to this weekend, obviously, we are back in Saudi. There is the 5v5 card, Queensbury versus Matchroom. Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren, who used to hate each other, by the way, until Saudi come up and started offering them loads of big bucks to work together. They're going head to head to see who is their better promoter. It's nice that there's a range of weight categories in the 5v5 as well. It's not just kind of all big guys. Obviously you get, different styles. Obviously the smaller guys are a bit faster. The bigger guys, you're more likely to see knockouts. So it should be a very exciting fight. Ray Ford versus Nick Ball. Nick Ball was in the previous Saudi card where, in my opinion, he was unlucky to get a draw with Ray Vargas. I thought he did enough to win the fight. I thought in the latter rounds he was good and deserved to win it, but he got a draw in the end. So let's see if he can redeem himself against Ray Ford, who looks very fierce. Hamza Shiraz versus Amo Williams. Hamza Shiraz is a guy, he has a lot of respect in the boxing scene. I haven't watched a lot of his fights or heard about him much myself, but he has a lot of respect, and I went for his box rec and saw that he'd beaten Liam Williams, who had lost to Chris Eubank. So he's got a good name on his record, and he has a lot of clout in the boxing community. So I'm thinking that's going to be an exciting fight. And then we've also got Willie Hutchinson versus Craig Richards. Willie Hutchinson has a very good knockout record. I was going for his box rec, and I was like, okay, this guy's got power. This guy can hit. But for me, Craig Richards, I like him. He has a few losses on his record, but I feel like the experience you get with the losses still makes him, a hard fighter. And now he's teamed up with Shane McGuigan. I'm thinking this could be like a revival for Craig Richards' career. Obviously, he was coming off that KO win. I think his first one under Shane. But he has a lot of names in his records. He's been in there with Bivol. And it was quite a close fight, actually. He did quite well. A few losses, but, a good fighter. He sticks in there. He comes back after losses, and personally, I think I'd rather see that in a boxer. I'd rather see him lose a few fights and have a 20-0 record against journeyman. But, that's just me in my opinion. So I think this could be a statement from Craig Richards. He's under Shane. He's got a lot of experience in the bank. He's got some big names on his record. So let's see if Craig Richards can show up. And this is why you don't give up, right? He's had a few losses, but look, he's in Saudi. He's getting the big bucks. He's on, a world stage. This is great. This is great for Craig Richards, Wish him all the best. And then obviously we've got the two big heavyweight fights, Hrgovic versus Dubois. I'm a big fan of Danny Dubois. I like the fact he's got heart. I think he answered. Well, for me, the criticism of him has always been harsh. People say, oh look, he has no heart. He gave up during the Joyce fight, but his eye socket was done. That is really painful, and you can get blind from that. So it's very harsh to criticize him for that. And then obviously he got KO'd by Usyk, but it's Usyk, right? And he showed heart against Usyk. He went there, he believed he could win. And look, Usyk won most of the rounds, probably all of the rounds. But Dubois gave a good account of himself. He showed he had heart. And the fact that he got dropped by a jab, I think it just shows that Usyk, he just exhausts you, right? This is what Tony Bowyer says. he does have power, but it's the exhaustion that gets you. You know, it's round 8, and you know he's mentally worn you out with all his movement. You know, he was just gone. And did he show any weaknesses in Usyk? Obviously, there was the whole low blow controversy situation, but I think it was low blow personally, so I don't think there was much controversy there. I think people were just making a bit too much of it. Usyk didn't seem to have any weaknesses. He's a bit of a robot. I thought when he was bleeding in the fight against Fury, I was like, I think like metal might just start coming out of you. Very tough guy. Hrgović, obviously, no, he beat Zhang, but it was, a lot of people thought Zhang won, and it was a bit of a weird fight where towards the end of the round, like, because they're both big guys, they were both kind of really gassed, and the fight was very slow. Some people say Zhang deserved to win. Some people say it wasn't as controversial as people say. So for me, I think I'll be supporting Danny Dubois. I like him. He's got heart. He showed a lot of Brazilians in his last fight. You know, the guy he was in against was huge, and he looked pretty gassed towards the middle of the round, but he bit down on his gum shield, took himself to a dark place, and got the guy out of there in the last round. So I think he will win, because I think being in the 12 rounds of Usyk teaches you so much about boxing. So I'm thinking those 12 rounds, even though it was a loss, I think will mean he will win against Hrgović. And obviously he's coming off a KO win, so his confidence will be high. He will have learned a lot from the Usyk match. So I think I will be backing Dubois to win. Hrgović, obviously he's a good name, but I never really get excited when I hear about his fights. You know, the only fight of his I can really name is his one against Zhang. Maybe it's harsh to say he's a boring fighter, because as I said, I haven't watched a lot of his fights. And then moving on, we have Zhilei Zhang versus Deontay Wilder. This is an intriguing fight, because if we see the Deontay Wilder of old, I think the heavyweight division will be opened up again, even more than it already is. I got a bit of stick for saying this, but I think Deontay Wilder, the old prime Deontay Wilder, would have a good shot against Usyk, because he's got that one hit power that is crazy. And if he can manage to hit Usyk with something, who knows if he'll go down or not. You can't really outbox Usyk, so what? Just try and hit him with something good. Like, that's why I think Deontay Wilder might have a bit of success, but it would have to be prime Deontay Wilder who hasn't done ayahuasca. So if we see prime Deontay Wilder back, I think it'll be exciting. I think a prime Deontay Wilder can hit something on Zhang, but I don't think Wilder wants it or needs it anymore. You know, he's rich. He had those fights with Tyson Fury that took loads out of him. He paid for his daughter's medical bills, which was the reason he got into boxing. He doesn't need to fight anymore. As I said, if he's found peace with himself and made all the money, why would you keep boxing? Like, why would you take all those punches to the head if you've got everything you needed from it, right? He's won the world title, he's got recognition, he's got money. Why would you keep fighting? He's lost that kind of killer instinct he had as well, you know. Before, he wanted to kill people, he wanted a body on his record, but now it's like, why are you fighting? I'm not really sure why he is fighting. I know why Tyson Fury's fighting, I know why Usyk's fighting. Usyk wants to be undisputed. Fury fights because he needs it for his mental health. Why is he Wilder fighting? He's got everything he could ever want. I think it's just if we see the killer Wilder back, you know, he's going to punch with bad intentions. I'm not sure. I hope we do see that, because it'd be an exciting fight. But I do think Zhang will win. I think Zhang's underrated. I think his loss to Parker. I think when you're that big, you just can't keep going for 12 rounds. Like, is Zhang doing a lot of cardio? Is he going up with 10K runs? I'm not sure personally, but Zhang got accused of being lazy in his fight against Parker, which can kind of see. Like, he put Parker down 3 times. Some people thought Zhang deserved to win, because although Parker had more quantity, you could argue the punches weren't really hitting or affecting Zhang much. So there's still an argument that Zhang won that fight, but I think most of the boxing world agrees that Parker won it. Zhang was maybe a little bit lazy, just couldn't quite dig deep enough to win the later rounds, but I do think Zhang will have enough to beat Wilder, especially this version of Wilder. I think Zhang's too big, he hits too hard. He's pretty clever as well for a big guy. He's got decent boxing IQ, and I still got that Joyce KO in my mind. Like, it was massive, wasn't it? So I think Zhang will knock out Wilder in the first 6 rounds, in my opinion. It's not going to points, is it? Like, I would bet my house on that fight not going to points. It's difficult with Wilder, because it's like, do you try and teach him like how to box properly? Do you try and teach him the fundamentals? Is there any point just laying his career? Or do you just go, look, you got one weapon in your arsenal, let's just keep training that one weapon, just try and hit it on him, okay? Bad intentions, go out there and hurt him. Very difficult to say. But as I said, I think Zhang will win fairly comfortably. And then obviously the final fight on the card is obviously Bivol. Unfortunately, Beterbiev got injured, so Alex Zinad is replacing him. Undefeated, 22-0. Again, no notable names on his record, so it seems like Bivol should win it comfortably, but late notices can be scary, you know. We remember what happened when Andy Ruiz stepped in late against Anthony Joshua. Of course, one of the biggest upsets ever, so we'll have to see what happens. So yeah, there's a quick preview for the 5v5. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.